Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your boy Kenny, and this is the Haves and the Have-Nots Season 6, Episode 8, and the name of this episode is Wicked. This episode was really good, and I can't wait to talk about it, so let me get started. Okay, the episode picks up where it left off. Melissa opens up the door. You know, David is right there with her, and they see Benny and Veronica getting it in. And she's like, and all of a sudden, Benny turns around and sees that David and Melissa are standing there. And she's like, oh, no, don't stop. You know, hey, he comes to my house unannounced. This is what he gets. You want to see more, David? And David just ends up leaving because he can't take it and ends up going downstairs. Then Melissa's like, busted. She's like, I'm going to bust you. You don't get the hell out of here. And then she's like, ooh, Benny, you nasty. Melissa had me rolling. So then, you know, here it is, Veronica is trying to, you know, chorus Benny, oh no, don't stop, you know, you're my hero, and then all of a sudden he's just like, you know what, I ain't with this shit, I need to get the hell out of here, and I need to go, and we can't do this anymore, and all this shit. And then, eventually she does let him get up out of bed to put his clothes on, and let's just say, yeah, Benny, baby, okay. But then he's like getting off, and then she's still saying like, you know you like this, you know you want to come back up in here and get it. And she's like, oh, but you know, be careful with me, because like before he got off the top of her, she's like, well, just be careful, you know, I'm still a little sore. I'm like, that damn Veronica couldn't wait to get Benny up in her. And then all of a sudden he gets dressed and goes downstairs and runs into David. And David's like, I see you still at it. He's like, well, actually, bro, was in it. But you need to talk to your wife about that. I'm like, here you go, Benny, being a cocky motherfucker. And you don't even know that there's a web being spun against you. You don't realize that David got mad pulled. And he's still talking, well, I beat your ass the last time. No, you actually didn't beat his ass, Benny. You gave him a run for his money, I'll give you that. But David held his own in that fight. And from the looks of it, y'all got equal. It was pretty much a draw. And even Mitch said that you didn't beat his ass. So, but Benny in his cocky ass state of mind, thinking he that dude, and you know, he's pretty much thinking that, yeah, I beat his ass, when in reality you didn't beat his ass. But you know, David was trying to get out the door, but David wouldn't let him out. So all of a sudden Veronica comes up and starts, you know, leave him alone, let him out, David. Why? Are you mad that, you know, I found the man that can satisfy me? And just taunting him, you know, rubbing on, you know, Benny, and Benny just standing there like, I'm like, see, Benny's dick is so crazy that he's just real cocky in this moment. But dude, you don't even realize that you're pretty much, you know, you're literally putting yourself, you know, in harm's way, and you're definitely fucking with the wrong person, because, you know, David is simple like that. So eventually he leaves, and then, you know, she's like, okay, David, what the hell do you want? But then we see that Melissa's on the stairs, and she's kind of laughing at the whole thing. She's just getting her life. But then David asks Melissa, can you excuse us? And she's like, hell nah, I ain't missing this shit. So Veronica grabs her and slaps her and is like, bitch, get the hell out of here. And she's like, oh, you're lucky that I'm carrying this baby, bitch. And walked off. So what he does is that he presents Veronica with a file of all the foul shit she's done, and he's saying that he will pretty much put her ass on blast if she don't get Jeffrey out of jail. And then she's like, oh, you and that girl again. And she's like, no, he's not a girl, he's your son. And pretty much is saying that, look, he's gay, and you need to let him be who he is. And she's like, yeah, and I'm doing the same, but he can be who he is in there, because I'm trying to make him be the best version of himself. I'm like, Veronica, you delusional, selfish bitch. You still in this frame of mind that you gonna make him straight. And David literally is telling her, you can't make him straight. He is who he is. But Veronica doesn't want to accept it again. And And then like, oh yeah. So he pretty much says that, look, I'm ready to, I'm ready to tell what I need to tell to get Jeffrey out of jail. I'm willing to do anything. And then, of course, Veronica lets him know, well, I got shit on you too, David. And I'll start singing like a bird, and she pretty much says that, look, that same fire you trying to burn me with, I'll see to it that it burns you. And then, and she's like, well, it's kind of funny, here it is, you done went off and, got yourself into another little situation, with Maggie Day. She's like, oh, and he's like, yeah, and you did something about that, didn't you? And she's like, yeah, I did. And I'm about to handle this little brown chick that you messing with too. So trust me, your little brown girl is going to get messed up. And he pretty much, told, and then Veronica's blocking the door from David, and he's telling Veronica to move, and she's like, oh, you're going to touch me? Oh, I wish you would. I will scream that you're abusing me, and I will ruin David. I will ruin you, David. So David just got tired of her shit, pushed her ass, and got up out of there. And then she's like, David Harrington, the big David Harrington is abusing me. I'm like, this crazy bitch. And then Melissa comes back and was like, damn, you're wicked. And she's like, you better know it. She's like, I can smell it, bitch. And she's like, you know what? I'm going to take your ass tomorrow we're going to the doctor, and I'm going to find out why you're not showing. And if you're not pregnant, you won't have to worry about anything. And she's pretty much, and then and Melissa kind of gave it back to her. She's like, trust me, sweetie, I'm not scared. So if anything, you need to lock your door. She's like, oh no, I'm going to leave my door unlocked. Come in and see what happens. And she's like, yeah, okay. I'm going to show you how crazy I am, bitch. And I just immediately began to suspect that what we all been suspecting, because we all been asking that question, why isn't Melissa showing if she's supposedly pregnant by Jeffrey? I just think she used that as a pawn to get Veronica to do what she wanted her to do. But honestly, I think she's going to turn up pregnant, but it's going to be Benny's baby. So we just got to keep watching. That's going to be interesting. Like, Hannah, you about to get another grandchild. So we just got to keep watching to see how this is going to play out. But if that shit comes out that Benny's the father of Melissa's baby, oh, Miss Veronica Harrington is going to hit the roof, honey. So I just can't wait to see what's going to go on there. Then we get a scene with Sarah and George. George says that he got some ballistics, and and that he got what he needs to take down the criers, but they need to pay Wyatt Cryer a visit. And she's pretty much asking, what is it? What is it? He's like, I got solid evidence. Now remember, from the last episode, she gave all the evidence they had to Jim. So what the hell has he got now? So immediately, this is like puzzling Sarah, like, I gave away all the fucking evidence, so what smoking gun you have? So we definitely see that going on. So yeah, I definitely put Sarah was kind of questioning like, what the fuck is going on with you, George? And we're going to find that out. Then we see that Hannah is working with Catherine's new maid, Joanne. And let's just say Joanne is a fucking mess. Because she is going in talking about Catherine's a bitch and she's stuck up. And, she's saying that at least working for her is better than my last family. That last family, the daughter, I work for this white family. The daughter came back, pregnant from a black man, and they end up firing every black person. He's saying, she was like, I thought there was drama in the hood, but these white people be on some crazy shit. So she's kind of like talking to Hannah, thinking this is her sister or whatever, not realizing that Hannah literally is an agent, for Katherine Cryer, a.k.a. white supremacy. Just saying. Just calling it like it is. So all of a sudden she starts, going through, she's pretty much trying to tell her how to fold Catherine's things and how Katherine likes stuff. And then all of a sudden she opens a jewelry. She's like, oh my God, this jewelry. Oh, with all this money? Ooh, with this, I can have enough for a whole year. And she's saying like, but you won't do it. She's like, Hannah's like, but you won't do that though. And Joanne is like, what? She's like, I'm just saying. She's like, but you won't. But you know, I'm gonna be right back. And then her little ass, like, knowing that she got to get this vibe that Joanne like to steal, she gonna steal her purse. I'm like, Hannah, you ain't got shit, bitch. You ain't probably got nothing in that purse but a Bible and some tissues. You need to stop fucking playing. That bitch ain't gonna take your purse. You ain't got no money up in that bitch. So then we see that Hannah goes down to Katherine, and she's like, yo, I need to tell you about Joanne. You need to fire her. She messy, and she up in everybody's business. And next thing you know, we see Joanne come down. Oh, I know your black ass didn't come down here and tell on me. And she's like, oh, yes, I did. She's like, how you going to do another sister like that? What kind of sister are you that you going to turn on one of your own, you know? And I'm just like, ooh, she's pretty much calling you a slave, like, literally. And she's like, well, first of all, honey, I'm not your sister. And second, you know, you real foul that you literally planning on stealing her stuff. And she's like, well, how you just gonna come up here, like, what kind of sister are you, what kind of black bitch are you that you would come and try to stop another black woman from feeding her kids? And then Miss Katherine was like, you ain't gonna be feeding your kids on my dime, get the hell out of my house. And she says, bitch, who you think you talking to? And then, you know, Katherine definitely got emotions like, bitch, who do you think you're talking to? I'm like, okay, Joanne, you better go, because we already know what she did to Jennifer Silence's ass. Katherine ain't the type of bitch you want to piss off. So you feeling real confident right now, but Joanne, Katherine will fucking kill you. So you need to leave. And she's like, okay, fine, I'll leave, and I better get my money or I'll come back and I'll burn this whole place down. I'm like, okay. All right, Joanne, you don't want it, bitch. But we're going to see what's going to happen with that one. You'll see if she come back. But yeah, but now I'm just thinking, and as soon as I saw that she fired Joanne, I was like, watch her ass try to hire back Hannah. And I just knew that shit was going to happen, because later on, she does try to hire Hannah back and said she'll double her salary. But Hannah has, you know, she pretty much now has a sense of purpose, and she's like, you know, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to go to school, do nursing. And, you know, I've been doing this, you know, for years, and I'm tired of doing this. And she says, well, fine, you know, I'll double your salary, and you can still go to school, you know. But she tells Hannah that, but Hannah tells Katherine that she'll think about it. And as soon as Hannah's about to leave, that's when George and Cheryl show up. But I'm gonna get to that. So keep that in mind. So after, you know, so now back at Veronica's house, Veronica calls Candace, and she was saying, like, look, I've been trying to reach you. What's been going on? She's like, oh, I had a situation. Well, the reason why you ain't been able to reach her, Candace, because Veronica was in an accident. But then, you know, immediately Candace is like, why is Jeffrey in jail? And she says, well, he's in jail for your crime. And she's like, what crime? What are you talking about? She's like, girl, there's nobody recording this line. You can speak freely. But she's asked, why is Jeffrey in jail? And she says, because he didn't do what I told him to do. So because he didn't, you know, I put him in jail with all the rest of the boys. And then Candace is like, look, you cannot keep punishing him for being gay. And she's like, and she's like, look, he is who he is. She's like, and then like Veronica's like, I know that people are just gay, but I'm just not accepting that my son is gay. And she's like, really, Veronica? And then that damn Veronica's like, oh, so what do you think you're gonna do, Candace? You think you can educate me by the LGBTHIJMKLMNOP, you know, whatever letters they're adding to it? She's like, you an ignorant bitch. Like, you know, he is who he is. He's still a man, and he deserves to be respected. But she's like, but we need to go back, you know. But then, you know, Veronica was like, yeah, but we need to go back to the good old days when the closet was king for queens. I'm like, you evil bitch. It's like she is just not accepting it. And then she says, so then they start talking about Erica. You know, So we pretty much see that everything that Candace is telling Erica, this is coming from Veronica. So she's like, so did you tell, have you been on your job as far as Erica? She's like, yeah, but she says that, but then she's saying that, yeah, she's, trying to look for the account and password. Then she's like, oh, no. See, I already know. He didn't change the account and passwords. But then she also let her know, you better tell your girl to slow her fucking roll because David is smart. David is very thorough. This fool will even use a black light to trace your fingerprints. That's how thorough he is. And she's like, damn, he that damn paranoid? And Veronica's like, hell, he was married to me for 25 years. I taught him everything he knows. But then she's like, but I'm impressed with you. Because she said that she was going to tell him to get all of his accounts and stuff. She said, tell her don't go through nothing because he'll get suspicious. And yeah, even though he's feeling her, he fully don't trust her. And I said that, last season because he keeps asking about that damn ex-boyfriend that supposedly beat her ass. And he won't let it go. So I'm thinking like, yeah, David got you in his circle, but David is not the easy person to trust and go along to get along. So David is always going to have that eye on, he's going to have that peripheral vision always looking to the left, or like, what I mean. Forget it. But, y'all get what I'm saying. So all of a sudden she's like, oh, I'm impressed with you, Candace. And she was like, you crazy bitch. And then she hangs up. So then afterwards, we see that Candace calls Erica, and she says, she's like, I've looked through the whole place, nothing's here. She's like, look, hold off on that. And she's like, he'll probably get suspicious. And then Erica's like, oh, I was thinking that. And then Candace was like, dumb bitch, you ain't paid to think. Like, don't nobody need your ass to think. You need to do what the fuck I'm telling you to do. You don't think unless I tell you what to think. So she's saying that, look, just hold off, don't go through nothing, just wait for my instructions and I'll tell you how to proceed. But meantime, be careful and kind of, kind of watch your back or whatever. And then she says, so he's like, and he'll probably go through your things and all of that. So she pretty much says, like, so what do you have me in your phone as? She says, oh, I have you in the phone as C. She's like, you dumbass. Like, he's going to immediately suspect something's up with that. Put my name down as Cynthia. So she's like, okay, fine, I'll do that. And then she said that, look, put, things that you don't want him to see in an app or whatever, keep it hidden from him. And the things that he'll probably go through that won't alarm him, make that out open. But everything else hide. So they hung up, and then all of a sudden Erica's like, you bitch. I'm like, Erica, I wouldn't be smelling myself right now because you could have actually got killed up with Ward's ass, and if anything, her ass need to die any damn way. So I'm just so not with this bitch. Then we see finally Candace goes back to the Artesian. She runs into Rocky. She asks about Gia. We see that Gia right now is working a guy at the bar, and he says she's paying the house and everything. She's like, oh yeah, she's giving us our cut. So, and if anything, he kind of notices something's up because Candace just disappeared, and he's like, what happened? She's like, oh, you ain't here? And he's like, no, I don't know what the hell's going on. But she didn't tell him, and then she just says that, I'll talk to you later, and she ends up leaving. Then we get we see Jim is in his hotel room. He gets a knock on the door from Oscar. He pretty much tells him that, look, I got everything from Wyatt. I got, I have his phone. I'm pretty much tracking his phone, and I also got his account information. So pretty much we can actually see. I can now tell everything he's gonna do, and we can kind of hack the account that way. So he's like, oh great, that's awesome. And then all of a sudden he sees that Jim pulling out money. He's like, are you having some guests? He's like, yeah, and you're in the way. Get the hell out of here. But he says, I'll keep you posted. And we come to find out the guest is actually Gia's ass. So we actually see that excuse me. So we actually see that Gia is pretty much, you know, there to service Jim. And I'm like, wow, this was kind of like a replay of how him and Candace first met in season 1. And, you know, she's pretty much saying that, so he's like, oh, so you're new, huh? And she's like, yeah. And he tried to make her drink, but she didn't want to drink. He's like, oh, you think I'm a drug? And she's like, hey, you know, all I know is that I saw a nice guy at the bar and wanted me to come up to his room, so that's what I'm doing. And she's saying, so, and she pretty much says that, yeah, for $5,000, I'll do whatever you want me to do. And he says, boo-boo, 1,000. And she's like, well, you're only going to get 1,000 worth of service. And he's like, yeah, you better make it damn good. And she's like, oh, trust, baby, you're going to be paying me 5,000. And I'm like, see to me that, yeah, Candace done rubbed off on her ass. And next thing you know, they start getting it in. Then we see that George and Sarah go to see Wyatt. You know, and this is before he ends up going to see Katherine. So they go to see Wyatt, and he pretty much says that, you know, we have an issue. And of course Wyatt's like, what's the issue? And he says that, you know, Jennifer Salison, you know, did your family own a gun? You know, didn't your sister use a gun to kill herself? And, you know, a .45 Magnum, didn't you see them with the gun? And Wyatt's like, no, I ain't seen him with a gun at all. He's like, think about it, Wyatt. You really need to think about this. And then all of a sudden Wyatt starts like thinking, and we know thinking is not Wyatt's best attribute, so he's like, oh yeah, I saw both of them with a gun. I mean, because he's saying I knew they had a gun in the house, but I've never seen them with a gun. But he done coerced this fool to say that, yeah, I've seen both of them with a gun. And he's saying that, you know, okay, you know, you gave us all that we needed, we're good to go. And then he pretty much saying that, yeah, you know, I'm ready to get this case, you know, taken care of because they keep coming by. And, you know, all of a sudden, George's like, they been by? He's like, yeah, my father's been by here. He's like, well, what did he say to you? He said that, you know, did he, like, threaten you? He's like, in so many words, but yeah, he wanted me to drop the case. He's like, look, I can get a restraining order then if you want. He's like, oh, yeah, you can do that. And then Sarah just looks puzzled as hell. And I'm like, Wyatt, you a fucking idiot. Because taking down your parents is taking down yourself, and you're such a fucking junkie and so in your own shit, you don't even realize it. But mainly it's because he has a guilty conscience for what he did. But yet they fucking saved your ass. But I think it's all because of, you know, the fact that Jim put him in jail and he ended up getting raped. So he really got a vendetta out against, you know, both of his parents because of that. So all of a sudden, you know, after they leave, George and Sarah are at the elevator, and then all of a sudden George is like, we got him. She's like, are you serious, George? What you did was coercion. He never saw a damn gun, and here it is, you got this boy lying, and he's like, whose side are you on, huh? And then all of a sudden he's like, look, they killed one of our own. And I'm not going to sit back and allow this to happen. They're going down for this. And she's saying that, look, here it is. I thought we had a solid case, but you really don't. You're literally just going to try to take them down, you know, by any means. And she's saying that, look, you're my assistant DA for a reason. So you need to watch, learn, and keep your mouth shut. I'm like, oh shit. Now we see the real grimy side of George. George wants to, you know, he wants to take down the criers because of Jennifer Salison, and he's willing to do any and everything to convict them. And we're going to see how much of a shrewd motherfucker he is, too. Because I'm like, George's going to end up dead like Jennifer's ass. Next, you know, we're going to see his feet pointed up in the air. You know, his ass, if he keep going on with his bullshit. So then we get back at the jail. We see that Justin is talking to the actual officer. I think his name is Jonathan, who's pretty much a dirty cop that was working with Oscar to set up Wyatt. You know, he's talking about, you know. So pretty much Justin asks Jonathan because he's on the Harrington case. He was one of the reporting officers at the scene. And he's like, so what do you know about the Harrington case? And he's like, oh, it was a car wreck or whatever. You know, she was kind of in shock and everything, but she's going to be fine, and she really has no clue of who did it. So, of course, this alerts Justin like, oh, okay, cool. You know, she knows somebody tried to run off the road, but she doesn't know who. So then we see Justin takes his simple, you know, Glenn Close having ass over there to Jeffrey with that fatal attraction bullshit and starts talking about some on your feet, Harrington. And Jeffrey's like, I'm not going anywhere with you. He's like, you want to make this difficult? On your feet. And fucking Jeffrey just sitting there like, I was like, I ain't mad at you, Jeffrey. And then all of a sudden, Jonathan's ass like, oh, is he giving you problems? You know, you need to show these prisoners who's boss. Hey, you heard him talking to you? Get your ass up. And I'm like, see, here we go with these little fake ass, you know, fucking sellout ass police officers, and we see Jonathan one of them, because here it is, you up here defending Justin, and Justin doing everything and all things and everything against the law. But because y'all wear the same badge, you just gonna defend his ass, even though you know what the fuck he's doing is wrong. And then he's like, oh yeah, so what's going on with him? He's like, well, the DA's supposed to be coming, but then never mind, he actually canceled. So he's like, okay. And then all of a sudden, Jonathan's like, when I get back, your ass better not be up in here. So I'm like, oh, shit. What you gonna do, Jonathan? All right, Jonathan. You don't know the fact that he a Harrington. And the fact that, yeah, you may end up fucking dead fucking with him. All right. So all of a sudden, we see him lock the fucking cell, and he looking all simple and shit. I'm like, yeah, you know damn well his ass didn't get up because you fucking lied because you was afraid that Jeffrey was gonna spill your tea and how he was splitting those cakes and had you screaming for your life. Like, oh, Jeffrey. Like, So I thought that was cute. So all of a sudden we see Justin goes back to his desk. An officer lets him know that his wife is there, and his wife's name is Kendra, and she's a judge. And remember, she was the judge in the case where Veronica exposed, you know, Justin and Jeffrey's relationship to open court. So she pretty much approaches him like, we need to talk. They go into a room, you know. We find out a lot about their relationship. One, that they haven't been intimate, and he hasn't touched her in over a year. And she's asking questions like, why didn't you tell me? And, you know, why do you keep lying? You know, and he's like, I'm not gay. And she's like, well, what do you call this? I saw it. You were involved with this man. Do you love him? What is this? You know, you haven't been returning my calls? Like, what's up? And she's like, you know, I can't talk about this right now. I just can't talk about this right now. And I'm like, see, here it is. You a piece of shit, Justin. Because here it is. You doing all this shit with Jeffrey, and literally the whole time you had your wife in the dark. And then your wife is kind of picking up that she knew something was up with you because y'all haven't been intimate in over the years. And he's saying, but you always work all the time. She's like, don't you even dare try that shit. You know damn well, you know, that there were times I tried it with you and you would always push me away. So I'm like, so yeah. And she's pretty much saying like, so pretty much we're going to see what Kendra going to end up doing because, you know, the fact that Justin keep being dismissive, it ain't going to sit well with her. And she may try to do some shit to fuck up Jeffrey because Jeffrey's fucking her husband. So we just got to keep our eyes open with that one. But yeah, we definitely found out some tea about that. So going back to Katherine's house, you know, after she tries to get, she pretty much propositions Hannah to come back to work for her. Once they're leaving, we see that George and Sarah pull up. And it's funny because Sarah is one of Jim's mistresses. And here it is, she's meeting Jim's wife and sitting in her house. And I'm just like, wow, ain't it a small world after all? So pretty much he starts, you know, interrogating. So pretty much George starts his interrogation. You know, he's saying that, you know, I got bad news. And he's like, you know, what, for Jim? She's like, well, actually bad news for you. It's about your son. And she's like, don't, like, what happened to my son? He's like, oh, no, he's okay. She's like, don't scare me like that. You know my son got a drug problem. No, but she's saying, but he wants to testify against you. But she said that, I thought Jennifer Salerson dropped that whole thing. And he's like, oh no, she didn't drop it. She just died. You know, shot with a .45 caliber gun. And I'm like, see, that damn George is really trying it, and he ain't gonna be happy till somebody put a .45 caliber bullet up in his ass. And he says, isn't there one registered to your address? She's like, yeah. And she's like, well, you know what happened to her? She's like, well, yeah, it's registered to Jim. It is what it is. But she's saying that, then he goes deeper. It's like, I'm sorry about your daughter. And she's like, the fact that she committed suicide. And did you know that Jennifer Salerson was looking into that because the blood spatter didn't equate to suicide, so she was thinking that Amanda was murdered. And the funny thing about it, the same gun that killed Amanda is the same gun that killed Jennifer Salerson. How about that? And pretty much Katherine was like, okay, you really trying it. You need to get up out of my house, and if you want to talk to me, you need to talk to my lawyer. And she's like, which lawyer? She says, run a list, and I'll give you one to talk to. But the door's right there. Get the hell out. And I was just like, see, George ain't going to be happy till he fucking dead, because you fucking with the criers, and the criers are ruthless as hell. So, okay, we see that shit popping off. Then the last scene, we see Hannah finally gets home. David goes to the house and actually stops her and was like, I'm here to talk. He's like, and she's like, Hannah, I need to talk to you. And she's like, man, get the hell away from me. And she's like, it's about your son. It's about your son, Benny. I know he buried Quincy Maxwell. Now, he either needs to turn himself in or I'm going to prosecute him for murder. And I'm like, oh, so this is how you're going to try to get Jeffrey out of jail. And I'm like, you want fucking Benny's ass locked up because you ain't liking the fact that he's tearing up Veronica. So even in some twisted shit, he still got feelings for Veronica's ass, because why the fuck would you even care that Benny's fucking her? The fact that you still feel some kind of way that Benny is digging out Veronica's old box, obviously you still got feelings for your wife, even though you over there playing house with Erica's ass. So that's what I have, y'all. I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts on this episode. If I missed anything, put it down in the comments. But subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you get notifications every time I drop a video. Also, follow me on all of my social platforms. I have them all listed in the description box. Also, like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. And I'll be back with the next episode of The Haves and the Have-Nots. So until next time, everybody, take care.